Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into, well, a truly contemporary mystery.
Yeah.
One that isn't shrouded in decades of speculation or, those blurry, faded photographs we often see.
Right. This is an ancient history.
Exactly. This isn't about some historical UFO lore that's been picked apart 1,000 times over. No, this phenomenon emerged just months ago. It's a truly unfolding enigma happening right now in our digital age.
Indeed. And we're talking about something fresh here, something that has really captured global attention, I think partly because of its sheer peculiarity.
Definitely.
And also because of the fundamental questions it forces us to ask about what we think we know, regarding technology, physics,
Yeah.
even consciousness itself.
And what we're talking about, what we're going to unpack today is the Buga sphere.
Mm-hmm.
This is this enigmatic object discovered right in the heart of Colombia. And the narrative surrounding it is, well, it's nothing short of captivating. It's prompting discussions that stretch from, the cutting edge of material science all the way to ancient philosophical texts. It's wild.
It really is. And to help us navigate this intricate puzzle, we've gathered a fascinating stack of sources for this deep dive.
Okay.
We'll be drawing from initial eyewitness accounts, which are crucial. Then there are detailed radiological examinations done by a medical professional, which is interesting in itself.
Right.
Anecdotal reports of some truly bizarre physical effects it reportedly causes. Alleged deciphered messages claimed to be from some advanced intelligence.
Okay. Oh.
And, crucially, a strong, necessary voice of scientific skepticism. We need that balance.
Absolutely. So our mission today is crystal clear. We want to unpack every layer of these extraordinary claims. We want to meticulously analyze the reported evidence, from all angles.
Yeah, look at it critically.
Exactly. And then explore the profound questions this peculiar object compels us to confront about our universe and, frankly, our place within it. So let's get started on this journey.
Let's do it.
Okay, so our story begins in a truly vibrant and picturesque corner of the world, Buga. It's a city nestled in Colombia's Valle del Cauca.
Beautiful region.
Yeah, exactly. It's a place steeped in rich culture, known for its charming colonial architecture, and it's perpetually watched over by the majestic, kind of imposing presence of the Andes Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
On any given day there, life flows with, a familiar rhythm. It's dictated by the sun, the fertile earth. You've got farmers tending their crops, kids playing in the streets, the sort of distant hum of daily activity. It's a community rooted in tradition, where the unexpected is, well, truly unexpected.
Yeah, imagine that scene, that sense of just ordinary routine. But then, on the afternoon of March 2nd, 2025, that everyday hum was dramatically interrupted.
Okay.
Witnesses describe something really interesting. Not the familiar roar of a commercial airplane or, the distinct chugging of a helicopter.
Right, none of the usual sounds.
No. What preceded the event was a subtle, almost drawing silence. An unnatural stillness in the air seemed to descend upon the valley. It was almost compelling everyone to look skyward before anything visible even appeared. It was an absence of sound, this eerie hush that signaled something profoundly different was about to happen.
And when it did appear, it was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Eyewitness accounts gathered from, scattered vantage points across the landscape. They consistently reported seeing a glint in the sky first.
A glint.
Not a blinding flash, but a glint, as if light was being sort of playfully caught and then deliberately released by some unseen surface.
Mm-hmm.
And then the shape resolved, a perfect metallic sphere.
Just a sphere.
Yeah. There were no visible wings, no discernible fuselage, absolutely no signs of propulsion, no jet exhaust, no rotating blades, no discernible sound, just a seamless reflective orb. This wasn't an unidentified flying object in the sense of some blurred dot.
Right. This was clear.
This is a clearly defined anomalous aerial phenomenon, UAP as they're now commonly referred to.
And the real intrigue, I think, lies in how it moved. It wasn't a conventional flight path, following aerodynamic principles we understand.
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses describe an unnatural grace, almost a fluid motion that utterly defied the physics of inertia and momentum as we know them.
How so?
Well, it floated. It hovered with impossible stillness against the Andean backdrop. And then, without warning, it would perform these incredible zigzag maneuvers, swift, instantaneous changes in direction.
Instantaneous.
Yeah, like blink and you miss it changes. Such abrupt shifts would surely crush any human pilot with insurmountable G-forces.
Oh, absolutely. Pulverize them.
But this object moved effortlessly. It shimmered in the light, yet in a peculiar way. It almost seemed to absorb ambient light rather than brightly reflecting it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, making it seem both visible and subtly elusive at the same time. It was like watching an aerial ballet, totally silent and utterly alien to our known world, moving with a precision that hinted at some kind of advanced, perhaps intelligent control.
And then, as if it had found its, I don't know, designated target, the sphere began its descent.
Okay.
It wasn't a crashing fall, nor was it like a controlled landing on a prepared surface, like an airport. It angled downwards, first slowly, almost cautiously, then picking up a quiet, deliberate speed. But here's where the claims get really interesting. It wasn't heading for an open field or a clearing or any kind of conventional runway. It angled precisely towards a dense patch of forest foliage,
Deliberately into the trees.
almost deliberately choosing to hide itself within the natural landscape.
Yeah. Okay. So the last glimpse many had was of this silent metallic orb just vanishing into the thick green canopy,
Exactly. Swallowed by the dense trees.
leaving behind only the bewildered stares of those who'd witnessed its extraordinary arrival.
Right. And when locals, driven by, an understandable mixture of awe and apprehension, cautiously approached the reported landing site.
Yeah. What did they find?
Well, what they found was crucial and equally perplexing.
Ah,
There was no shattered wreckage,
no crash site.
no telltale signs of a violent impact, no broken branches or scorched earth to indicate a forceful landing. It was as if it had just gently settled, perfectly intact,
Yeah.
rather than crashed.
Big place there?
Almost. Instead, nestled amidst the undergrowth, they discovered it. A perfect, seamless sphere of metal.
Wow.
Imagine that moment. You've just seen something defy gravity vanish into the woods, and then you find this.
Yeah.
It was roughly the size of a bowling ball. Substantial, but not so large as to be unwieldy.
Okay.
The initial estimate put its weight at around 4.5 pounds, or about 2 kilograms, yet it felt incredibly dense for its size.
Really? Dense how?
Like it was made of something far heavier than typical metals we know, suggesting a composition beyond the ordinary.
Huh. Interesting. And what else?
But one striking aspect was its temperature. Despite the warm, ambient tropical air of Buga,
Yeah, it's warm there.
the sphere was unnaturally cold. Not just cool to the touch, but possessing this deep internal chill that seemed to emanate from its core. It defied the surrounding temperature and basic thermodynamics.
A cold spot in the jungle.
Pretty much. It was a stark contrast, and it immediately set it apart from any conventional fallen object. For you, listening to this, imagine that immediate sense of awe, but also apprehension, right?
Oh, definitely.
This was clearly not a piece of an airplane, not a meteorite, not a known human artifact. This was something else entirely, something that immediately challenged assumptions about its origin.
So, okay, you're confronted with an object that seemingly defies known physics. What do you do?
Exactly. The news of this strange sphere, as you can imagine, spread like wildfire,
I bet.
not just through the local community in Buga, but across the global networks of UAP enthusiasts and independent researchers. It prompted this clamor for a closer examination.
Understandably.
Soon, this enigmatic object came into the hands of those eager to examine it more closely. And a key figure who emerged early on was Dr. José Luis Velázquez.
Okay, who's he?
He's a radiologist by profession. He was among the first to begin a thorough examination using tools familiar to his medical practice.
A radiologist. Okay, that's an interesting angle, using medical tech on this thing.
Right. And the real intrigue lies in Dr. Velázquez's approach. As a medical professional, he's accustomed to using X-rays to peer into the complexities of the human body. Right.
Standard practice.
So he turned his diagnostic tools onto this metallic enigma. And what his initial examinations revealed was utterly perplexing. It truly pushed the boundaries of what we understand about manufacturing processes and advanced material science on Earth.
It was like looking inside an alien patient, maybe? Seeing anatomy that shouldn't exist?
That's a great way to put it. Absolutely. And the very first thing that struck anyone who laid eyes on the Bugasphere was its utterly seamless perfection.
Seamless. How seamless?
Like perfectly seamless. There were no visible welds, no joints, no seams whatsoever. A single, continuous metallic shell. A perfect geometric form.
Okay, hold on. Think about that for a moment. In an age where even our most advanced human manufacturing processes, precision machining, advanced 3D printing, even nanotech fabrication, they always leave some trace.
Always. Some microscopic line, a molecular bond difference, a faint joint, something.
But this sphere presented a perfectly unbroken continuous surface. The question of how was it made immediately became this monumental challenge to our known capabilities. It suggests a manufacturing process we simply haven't conceived of.
And the exterior mysteries didn't stop with its seamlessness. Etched onto the surface of the sphere were mysterious symbols.
Symbols, like writing.
Yeah, kind of. These weren't random scratches or accidental scuffs. They looked deliberate, intricate carvings resembling ancient scripts.
Ancient scripts? Like what?
Early reports liken them to runes, those cryptic characters used by Germanic peoples,
Okay, yeah.
or even to the enigmatic Ogham script of ancient Ireland, which is fascinatingly linear, often found on standing stones.
Right, the lines on stones.
Some even drew comparisons to intricate cuneiform, the wedge-shaped writing system of ancient Mesopotamia, one of the earliest known forms of writing.
Wow, so quite a range of comparisons.
Definitely. This transformed the object from just a remarkable piece of metal into potentially a canvas bearing a cryptic message, a silent language waiting to be deciphered, hinting at intent and intelligence behind its creation.
So it wasn't just a physical artifact, but maybe a potential communication device.
That was the implication, yeah. And the next piece of the puzzle emerged as Dr. Velazquez continued his radiological examination.
With the X-rays.
Exactly. The internal structure of the Buga sphere began to reveal even more staggering complexity. The X-rays penetrated its dense, seamless shell, laying bare its inner secrets.
Yeah, what was inside?
He discovered it wasn't a solid mass. Instead, it was constructed with 3 distinct metallic layers.
3 layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't just advanced. It speaks to a sophisticated understanding of material science. It suggests different properties or functions for each layer, maybe one for shielding, another for energy conductivity, a third for structural integrity or thermal regulation. We don't know.
It's like finding a perfectly engineered multi-tool where each component is seamlessly fused together.
That's a good analogy. And even more astonishingly, nestled within these layers, precisely arranged around a dense central core, were 18 perfectly formed miniature orbs, microspheres.
18 tiny spheres inside.
Exactly. And these weren't haphazardly placed. They seemed purposefully positioned, almost like components in an intricate clockwork mechanism, or perhaps something far more advanced, like a delicate internal system working in concert.
Huh. And the central core.
The central core itself was described by some as a chip.
A chip, like a computer chip.
That sparked immediate speculation, yeah. Was this some form of data storage or processing unit? The brain of the sphere, perhaps, controlling its various functions and interactions?
Okay, this is getting seriously complex. Layers, microspheres, a central chip.
And the claims of internal complexity kept piling up. More recent reports, specifically from scientists in Mexico who reportedly continued the examination.
Ah, so it moved from Colombia.
Apparently so, or at least samples or data did. These reports added another layer of intrigue. The alleged discovery of a maze of fiber optic wires, intricately woven throughout the sphere's interior.
Fiber optics. Wow. Okay, now, if those claims are true, that's a profound revelation about its purpose, isn't it?
How so?
Well, if those fiber optic wires are truly present and integrated into its structure with such precision, it strongly suggests a communication device, right? Or maybe a probe specifically designed for sending and receiving data across vast distances.
Like a messenger probe.
Exactly. Imagine a self-contained unit capable of gathering information, processing it, and then transmitting it perhaps across interstellar space. It elevates the object from a mere curiosity to a potential piece of sophisticated, self-contained technology, meant to gather or transmit information.
That would be a profound leap beyond anything we're currently capable of building in such a compact and seamless form.
Yep.
It challenges our very understanding of miniaturization and integrated circuitry.
Absolutely. So when you synthesize all these findings, the utterly seamless exterior that defies human manufacturing, the complex internal components like the 3 distinct metallic layers, the 18 precisely arranged microspheres, the central chip, and now potentially the fiber optics, all combined with those mysterious etched symbols, the hypothesis of non-human origin becomes incredibly compelling for many researchers and observers.
It's a direct challenge to known technology, isn't it?
It really is. As of 2025, right now, no known earthly technology can seamlessly forge multiple metallic layers around complex internal components like that, embed a dense network of fiber optics, and etch a cryptic language onto its surface, all without a single visible join.
It's mind-boggling.
This object, if all these claims hold true and are verifiable, I mean, that's the big if, it fundamentally pushes the boundaries of what we currently deem technologically possible. For you listening, it forces us to consider that perhaps our understanding of fabrication, material science, and maybe even fundamental physics itself is far from complete.
Or that there are intelligences out there operating on principles we can barely conceive of.
Precisely.
Okay, so this is where things get truly perplexing, moving beyond just the structure of the sphere itself. As researchers apparently delved deeper, the Buga sphere began to reveal properties that, quite frankly, defied the very laws of physics as we understand them.
Oh, like what?
These weren't just structural anomalies. These were active, inexplicable phenomena that reportedly occurred in its presence, suggesting it wasn't just a static object, but maybe a dynamic, self-regulating entity.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Active phenomena.
Yeah. Notably, the claims of weight manipulation are particularly startling.
Weight manipulation.
Remember, it was initially reported at around 4.5 pounds or 2 kilograms?
Dense for its size, you said?
Right. But then, truly astonishing reports emerged that the sphere's weight was not constant. Researchers, including those presenting findings on platforms like Moss on Television, which is a prominent Latin American media platform known for its focus on UAP and anomalous phenomena,
Okay, yeah, I know the name.
they began claiming the sphere had inexplicably increased significantly in weight since its discovery.
Increased. How much?
From that initial 2 kilograms, it reportedly grew to 6 kilograms,
Mm-hmm.
then 10 kilograms,
Mm.
with some even claiming it reached upwards of 16 or even 20 pounds.
Wait, what? 20 pounds? That's almost a tenfold increase.
Exactly. Think about that for a moment. For a solid, metallic object to spontaneously gain mass like that, it's utterly impossible under any known scientific principle.
The law of conservation of mass, yeah, that doesn't work. Mass can't just appear from nowhere.
Right. This is why many have theorized that the sphere might possess the ability to manipulate gravity itself.
Manipulate gravity.
Yeah, shedding weight for those incredible aerial maneuvers observed during its descent, and then gaining it back for stability, or for some other as yet unknown functions once on the ground.
That suggests a command over fundamental forces. Maybe a localized ability to alter space-time. That's firmly in the realm of science fiction for our current understanding.
It really is.
This raises a critical question, though. If this is true, what kind of energy source or mechanism would be required to achieve such a feat? It points to a technology that can generate or at least influence a gravitational field. That capability is far beyond our current engineering.
We're talking about propulsion or manipulation that doesn't involve thrust or reaction, but rather a direct interaction with the fabric of reality itself.
It challenges the very bedrock of Newtonian physics. It's profound, if true.
And then there's the bizarre environmental impact at its landing site.
Ah, yes, the landing site. What happened there?
The specific patch of ground where the sphere reportedly descended in Buga suffered this strange and unsettling transformation. Locals and early investigators observed that the area where the orb came to rest had mysteriously dried up.
Dried up.
Yeah, the grass had withered and died, the soil itself seemed utterly desiccated, and apparently to this day, nothing has reportedly grown back.
Like a sterile patch.
Exactly. It's as if the area was scorched, but not by fire, by some unseen force.
What's truly perplexing here is that conventional radiation was rigorously ruled out as the cause through initial tests. So it wasn't radioactivity as we know it.
Okay, so what was it then?
Well, researchers who observed this proposed theories, things like an invisible energy that literally drew all moisture from the Earth, or maybe a strong, decaying, ionized field generated by the sphere that effectively rendered the ground sterile.
So it's like the very life force, the moisture and vitality of the immediate environment had been siphoned away or neutralized by the object's prolonged presence there.
That's the idea. It suggests a unique energy signature or field effect that interacts directly with organic matter at a cellular or molecular level, causing desiccation and inhibiting growth. A localized ecological disruption.
Weird. And beyond the immediate physical environment, there were anecdotal reports from individuals who handled the sphere.
Okay, personal experiences.
Yeah, these added to the growing list of anomalies. Some claim that when water was poured onto the sphere, it would instantly vaporize.
Instantly, not just boil off.
Instantly vaporize, not slowly evaporate, instantly, often accompanied by a sensation of intense cold or even, strangely, steam.
Cold and steam, that's contradictory.
Right. It's that the sphere was an incredibly efficient, silent, and immediate heat sink or source, depending on the interaction.
This phenomenon, if true, hints at an incredible energy transfer, a localized manipulation of temperature and pressure unlike anything we can easily replicate. Imagine an object that can rapidly absorb or dissipate vast amounts of energy in its immediate vicinity without any visible change to itself.
What could even explain that?
Well, some theories have even pushed into really speculative territory like dark matter polarization.
Dark matter, seriously.
Highly speculative, I know. But the idea is that the sphere might be interacting with or influencing dark matter, that invisible hypothetical substance thought to make up a large portion of the universe's mass to create localized energy shifts. Maybe by altering its quantum state or even manipulating exotic particles to induce phase changes in water instantaneously.
Okay, that's way out there.
It is. It suggests an object operating at the very fringes of theoretical physics, potentially tapping into unknown energy sources.
And then there were the potential health effects. Now, these are claims that, while purely anecdotal, raise significant questions.
Okay, what kind of effects?
A local man who reportedly handled the sphere for several days claimed to have felt unwell afterwards. He experienced unexplained symptoms like fatigue, headaches, and just a general malaise that persisted for some time.
Hmm.
Now, we have to really caution here. These claims remain unverified and are highly anecdotal. It's just one individual, and no medical professional has officially linked his symptoms to the sphere.
Precisely. Very important caveat. However, it does raise an important question for future, more controlled study, doesn't it?
Like what?
Well, if this object is truly alien, and if it operates on principles unknown to us, what are its long-term effects on biological organisms? Are there subtle energy fields, unknown frequencies, or even microscopic particles, maybe from its exotic composition or processes that could interact with human biology in ways we don't yet understand?
Yeah, that's a crucial area for impartial scientific investigation, even if the initial reports are just anecdotal. Any interaction with unknown technology requires rigorous health and safety protocols.
Absolutely.
Finally, what ties many of these phenomena together for proponents, for the believers,
Huh?
is the belief that the sphere actively generates its own powerful electromagnetic field.
Ah, an EM field.
Yeah. This field, if it exists and if it's substantial, is theorized by many to be the key to its purported flight capabilities, its ability to manipulate its own weight, and even those strange environmental effects and potential health impacts.
Okay, so the EM field as a sort of unifying explanation for all these bizarre effects,
This seems to be the thinking for some.
which points to a truly sophisticated, self-sustaining device. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests an object operating on principles far beyond our current scientific grasp, generating its own power, manipulating fundamental forces, and interacting with its environment in incredibly complex ways.
It really is a mind-bending thought. For you, listening, picture this object that defies our physics, generating its own unique energy signature. How does an object seemingly composed of metal achieve such dynamic and varied effects without any visible power source or moving parts?
The implication is a unified field theory at work, maybe, where electromagnetism, gravity, and perhaps even unknown forces are intrinsically linked and controlled by the object itself.
Which brings us back to the symbols. For those who believe the Buga sphere is an extraterrestrial artifact, the most compelling aspect, perhaps even more than its physical anomalies, is the idea that it carries a message.
Right, the etched symbols you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. They aren't just seen as decorative marks. They are viewed by many as a sophisticated form of communication, a deliberate encoding of information from an advanced intelligence, a direct attempt to communicate with humanity.
And there have been claims of decipherment, haven't there?
There have. Remarkably, researchers reportedly employing cutting-edge AI tools and linguistic algorithms to analyze patterns and frequencies within these symbols claim to have made significant progress in translating them.
Using AI, okay. And what did they supposedly find?
The alleged message they've uncovered is, well, it's truly profound and remarkably timely, especially given the current state of our world and humanity's challenges.
Okay, let's hear it.
And the message, as it has been translated and reported, goes like this. The origin of birth, through union and energy, in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness.
Wow, okay. That's not take me to your leader.
Not even close. This is where things get truly perplexing for believers. This isn't just a random string of words or a simple greeting.
No, it's very philosophical, abstract.
Exactly. For those who accept its authenticity, this message is interpreted as a clear, urgent communication from an extraterrestrial source, almost like a cosmic blueprint for existence.
How are people interpreting it specifically?
It's been seen as a warning about humanity's current trajectory, a profound call to global unity, and an urging towards higher consciousness, especially, they say, in the face of escalating environmental crises and societal divisions.
So a message about connection, transformation, consciousness.
Right. Proponents argue that the depth and philosophical nature of this message itself is compelling evidence of a non-human author, suggesting a wisdom and perspective far beyond our current collective understanding. It's a universal message about interconnectedness and growth, themes found in many of humanity's deepest spiritual and philosophical traditions, which they find significant.
It's certainly a powerful narrative. A message from the stars delivered via this enigmatic sphere.
It is, however, and this is a big however, as with all truly extraordinary claims, the Buga sphere has drawn significant skepticism from the scientific community.
As it should.
And it's a healthy skepticism, right? One that is born from the rigorous demands of scientific proofs, where extraordinary claims, by definition, require extraordinary evidence to be accepted.
Exactly. This isn't about dismissing the possibility of UAPs wholesale, but about upholding the standards of scientific inquiry when faced with specific claims like this one.
Precisely. And one of the most vocal skeptical voices has been Dr. Julia Mossbridge.
Okay, tell us about her perspective.
She's a respected physicist at the University of San Diego and founder of the Institute for Love and Time, or TILOT. And it's important to note, Dr. Mossbridge doesn't dismiss the general phenomenon of UAPs outright. She's someone who actually advocates for rigorous, data-driven study of them.
So she's not a debunker across the board.
No, not at all. However, she urges extreme caution when it comes to specific objects like the Buga sphere. Her initial assessment, delivered with a kind of wry practicality and maybe a touch of professional amusement, was that it looks to me like a really cool art project.
An art project. Okay, that's blunt.
It is, but it's not just dismissiveness. It's a call for grounded analysis. And her perspective is absolutely critical here.
Why? What's her reason?
Dr. Mossbridge highlights that in an age of incredibly advanced manufacturing, humans are capable of creating incredibly complex and visually perplexing objects, even objects that appear to have no visible seams.
How so?
Think about how far our 3D printing, nanofabrication, and material science have come. We have techniques like additive manufacturing, vacuum casting, advanced welding, methods that can produce incredibly smooth and seamless surfaces.
So it could be human-made, even if it looks seamless to the naked eye.
That's her point. It's easy to be fooled by an object's apparent perfection when human ingenuity itself is constantly pushing boundaries. Could this be a terrestrial technological marvel designed specifically to look alien?
A deliberate hoax, maybe? Or just advanced tech misinterpreted?
Or even art, like she suggested. Furthermore, she emphasizes the powerful psychological aspect at play here.
Ah, the human element.
Yeah. Our profound human desire for contact, our deep-seated questions about our place in the universe, our hopes for what might be out there. This can make us remarkably eager to attribute unknown objects to extraterrestrial origins.
Especially when we want to believe.
Exactly. This can happen without sufficient, verifiable, peer-reviewed evidence, sometimes causing us to overlook more terrestrial or even deceptive explanations. It's an important reminder of our inherent cognitive biases, our tendency to see patterns or connections where none exist, or to interpret ambiguity in a way that confirms our hopes and beliefs.
The will to believe can be very strong.
Extremely. So this raises an important question. What's the path forward for truly understanding this object, given these competing claims?
Rigorous science, presumably.
That's what Dr. Mossbridge stresses. The absolute necessity for rigorous, unbiased scientific examination. Her call to action is clear. Objects like the Buga sphere must be submitted to reputable, independent scientific organizations with no vested interest in a particular outcome.
Right, remove the bias, remove the sensationalism.
Exactly. She specifically mentioned the Galileo project, led by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, as an excellent example. It's a group dedicated to the scientific study of UAPs using transparent methodology, where data is openly collected, analyzed, and, crucially, peer-reviewed.
And that peer review is key, isn't it?
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it underscores that only through such rigorous, standardized analysis by multiple independent scientific teams using a variety of instruments and methodologies can we definitively determine if an object is truly non-human made.
Without that kind of thorough, reproducible investigation, any claims, no matter how tantalizing, remain purely speculative. That's the bedrock of scientific credibility, especially when the stakes are potentially as high as first contact. It's about data, not just anecdotes or blurry photos or, single-source X-rays.
And the recent history of sensational UAP claims also adds a layer of crucial skepticism here, doesn't it?
You mean?
Just last year, you might remember the infamous alien mummies that were presented in the Mexican Congress.
Oh, right. That caused quite a stir.
It did. Those specimens, initially heralded by some as proof of extraterrestrial life, were largely and pretty quickly debunked by scientific analysis. They turned out to be elaborate hoaxes, meticulously crafted from a combination of animal and human bones.
Yeah, that didn't help the credibility of serious UAP research at all.
One bit. And that incident cast a long shadow over new UAP claims like the Buga sphere. It serves as a stark cautionary tale, reminding us that extraordinary claims can sometimes be extraordinary deceptions, whether intentional or not.
It highlights the human element, again, the capacity for incredible creativity, whether artistic or misleading, and the perennial need for constant vigilance and critical thinking, even when faced with seemingly overwhelming or bizarre evidence.
It teaches us that excitement must always be tempered by empirical rigor.
Definitely.
So the Buga sphere then stands at this fascinating crossroads. On one side, you have the tantalizing possibility of first contact, a message from beyond our world that could fundamentally change everything we know about life, technology, our place in the cosmos.
The ultimate paradigm shift.
Right. And on the other side, there's the sobering reality of human ingenuity. Whether that ingenuity is used for groundbreaking art, perhaps as a social experiment, or potentially for intricate deception designed to captivate and mislead.
It could be any of those things.
Yeah.
Or something else entirely we haven't considered.
Exactly. For you listening to this, it really challenges you to consider your own biases, to sharpen your critical thinking skills, and to weigh the evidence carefully when evaluating such incredible claims. What do you choose to believe and why? It's a tough question.
It is. And the story of the Bugosphere, then, is still very much being written. It's a mystery unfolding in real time, right before our eyes in this digital age.
So no final answer yet.
No. As of today, there is no definitive, peer-reviewed scientific consensus on its origin. While researchers, including apparently Dr. Velasquez and others, reportedly continue their studies in Mexico, the path to conclusively identifying this object remains unclear. And perhaps it always will be, until more comprehensive, transparent scientific analysis can be performed by multiple independent groups.
But what makes the Buga sphere so incredibly compelling for us, regardless of its ultimate origin, whether it's alien, human, art, hoax, whatever, is the fundamental questions it forces us to ask. Questions about ourselves, our perception of reality, and our place in the cosmos. It challenges our deep desire to believe, our inherent skepticism, our fears of the unknown, and that relentless, insatiable pursuit of knowledge that really defines us as a species.
It's a mirror reflecting our deepest hopes and our most profound intellectual challenges, isn't it?
Graphically put.
This is where things get truly perplexing, I think. Whether it ultimately proves to be a message from an advanced civilization, a clever, cutting-edge piece of human art, or something else entirely. The Bugosphere serves as this powerful, contemporary reminder that our universe, and indeed our own planet, may hold secrets far stranger and more complex than we can currently imagine.
It dares us to question our assumptions about what is possible and what lies just beyond the veil of our current understanding. So, a final thought for everyone listening. What does this object, whether you lean towards alien artifact or human masterpiece, make you question about the limits of our current scientific understanding? And what about the true nature of what's possible in our universe?
And maybe also, how do we, as a species, responsibly approach and investigate phenomena that push the very boundaries of our knowledge while maintaining that rigorous scientific integrity we've been talking about? It's a huge challenge.
It really is. A lot to think about.